businesses to get on board with us, and then to get us into a lot of the other establishments, and then start to become kind of a household name, and then just really attending and participating in everything we could in town. I mean, there's still a lot of people that have no clue, that don't even come to downtown Lamont, that have no clue we're even there. But there's many that do, and the ones that do, I think, have certainly embraced what we've been doing.
How intentional were some of those styles that you guys launched with? Because we're going to get to some of this too. Brian makes a ton of different styles really well. There aren't a lot of brewers in Chicago that can do the spectrum as well as you guys can, and Brian, you can. How intentional was it? You mentioned Paul Lamonti. I mean, the can obviously talks about the Lamont here. It shows it with the clock tower and everything, but the style had to be important to try to get that out there too, right?
I think it was. I mean, one of the things we didn't want to do was scare everybody away from trying craft beer. So what's the easiest thing to get close? You know, Tom's Place is Blatz, right? So we had to kind of embrace what a lot of people were used to drinking, which was kind of a nice, easy drinking style of a golden ale or just a nice pilsner or something that was going to be go down smooth. And you know, that was our next choice, was to go with a golden ale, and there's still people that haven't tried it. There's still many that's their go-to. I mean, if we run out, occasionally we do. You know, it's almost like there's a riot in town.
I'm going to move. So again, we're talking about different styles and seasonal. So Stephanie, I'm going to open it up to you. You got a question too.
Wanted to know if you guys anticipated the buzz that occurred after Summerly was released. I know a lot of my friends look forward to that coming out every year. And then when they see the post that it's up, it's being canned, they get excited because they know summer is around the corner as well.
Yeah, no. So it's kind of a funny story with that one. So we have a summer festival in our parking lot. Well, it was in our parking lot every year. And Paul tasked me with making a raspberry beer, a raspberry wheat beer. And I was like, come on, man. Are you serious? If you asked me when we started if a raspberry was going to be our most popular beer, I thought you were crazy. But I was like, all right, if you really want it, I'm going to do it for you. So I told him, though, I'm not going to make it sweet because that's just garbage. I was like, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it with like a bunch of different wheats. I'm going to make it tasty. It's going to be a little more dry than a lot of people are used to, but that's how we're going to do it. So we did it. We made 15 barrels in the first year. It sold out at that fest. And then like a week later, I was pretty surprised. So next year we made, I think it was like maybe 75 barrels. And that went pretty quick too. And then the next year we made 300. And then last year we were up around 700 or 800. And then before this year, we were probably going to be higher than that before the quarantine happened. But yeah, you never would have seen a pink wheat beer on my radar when we started, but here we are.
The finance guy would tell you that, damn it, the beer that we have to, you know, we ship in raspberry puree from the state of Oregon. You know, when Brian made it that first year, I think he had a 5-gallon bucket of puree, and I don't know, we probably had what, 15, 20, 55-gallon pails last year shipped in, maybe more than that, maybe 30. So and again, another element that doesn't get cheaper as you buy more, unfortunately. There's no place in the Midwest we can find that much raspberry. So the fact that beer is blown up is painful to me, because, you know, raspberry wheat ales, for a finance guy, you can't necessarily pass along those costs. You know, that beer has a shelf price, and you know, we're thrilled with it, and we're thrilled with the success. But it is that one that the finance guy always grits his teeth. But I do drink a hell of a lot of it, so I do love it.
And that was one where I was not going to compromise on adding any fake flavor. Ryan was always trying to see, like, oh, well, how can we go cheaper? And I was like, nope, not on this one.
No, so that's a beer style that if you go cheaper, it's noticeable. Like in the flavor, it becomes fake. No, you can't. There are definitely beers like that. I'll tell you, I mean, we have people that come in and buy like 4 packs at a time. So it's one of those beers that, you know, a lot of people are coming in buying single cans or they might buy a 4-pack, but I'll tell you what, Summerly and Pollyanna Pils move out of here by the case. It's crazy. It's awesome.
It's good by me.
It's sad to see the raspberries going down the drain after they've been in the fermenter. That's a lot of money going down the drain. The color and the taste is real, and it'd be killing, and it would taste like plastic if it wasn't. So we do it the right way, and it is what it is.
It is delicious. It's awesome. Like Stephanie said, like, you know, summer's coming. You know, spring's here when that beer hits the shelves. It's awesome. So Brian, we're laughing. There's a few beers you don't like to make. What's your favorite beer to make?
Anything that ends with lager, those are my favorite to make. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like pretty much every beer we make, I really enjoy. But there's some that I, don't drink as much of. But I've always said that if I'm going to make a beer, it's going to be something that I can drink more than one of in a sitting. So there hasn't really been a beer that I've never had more than one. But anything that ends with lager, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
What about Eleanor?
Oh, Eleanor is my all-time favorite, but I mean, you can't go wrong with lager.
Paul and Ryan, what are your crushers? What are your favorites that you guys have?
Sexy Lexi. I fell in love with her a long time ago, and that's my go-to.
Paul?
I could probably drink the bottom out of Light Thinking day and night.
Yeah, solid. All right, one of the areas I think you guys have come light years ahead in is barrel aging program. Some of the stuff, and it started, I still remember when you guys started to put fun size in barrels and kick that out, and it's amazing. And everything I've had, when we did our collaboration, Brian, you sampled a milk stout out of there. I think it was the one you did with Joe's Warehouse, the collaboration you guys did with them. And that beer out of the tank was absolutely phenomenal. What have you learned about the aging process and the barrel process, and how have you gotten to that point where you're able to take some of these and improve on it?
There is such a thing as too much. So I think that's important to learn early on. You can add all sorts of crap into the beer, but then you're going to cover up what the initial intention was, which was imparting that wood flavor and the spirit flavor. The slight oxidation from the beer is also important. It's an important factor in how something ages. So if you just add a whole bunch of stuff, which, we're guilty of with the Fun Size series, obviously, but we do it in a way that is planned from the beginning. So the barrel character still shows up while not overpowering, but you can still taste everything else. But barrel aging for us it's become something that's pretty big, but it's not something we focus on. So you'll see a lot of breweries that do a barrel aged release every month, but we kind of just do it when it makes sense for us. It's not what Pollyanna doesn't live and die by our barrel program, but I think we do pretty well. We've had a few that didn't turn out as great as we were hoping, but I think over time you get better and better at it.
Well, you guys are limited with space too over there. So, and I know you're also doing a lot of the souring in barrels too. You're starting to move into that. What's the plan there?
Yeah, so I was mentioning earlier, we have a couple fooders in Roselle. The plan is to move those more into barrels and then fruit them and kind of have some one-off fruited sours. We kind of hit a snag in March when this all happened, but we're hoping to continue that as soon as we're back up.
Okay. Let's see. So Clow, I'm not sure what the name is, but there's a fair question there because we didn't see a lot of variance in one of your very popular beers. Go ahead, ask your question.
Thanks. Yeah, personal chain letter. You had asked about bourbon barrel aging. I've always been happy with the personal chain letter. I was wondering what the next variant is and what's bourbon barrel choice.
Yeah, thanks. So that beer is kind of an old school imperial stout. It's got a high bitterness to it. We've toned it down over the years just for consumer preference, but it's still it's not a fat, sticky milk stout. So it's something where you can still taste the roast and still taste some of the hops even after a year in barrels. So next year, we haven't decided what the adjunct's going to be yet. Vanilla always works. I think with a beer like that, because you're still tasting so much of the hop and roast character, if you add too much to it, you're gonna ruin the profile, and it could come off as a little harsh. So something as simple as vanilla, I think, goes perfectly with it. And if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure we put them in Heaven Hill barrels this year.
Nice. Ed didn't want to actually ask the question, but I mean, Paul, are you gonna green light the fun size variety pack for Halloween this year? That's the rage, man. These variety packs, right? Hostile Harry from Spiteful, Significant from Buckle Down. Come on.
You never know. That was one of the things I wanted to do. I actually wanted to do a variety pack back in the day that had, I think, three 16-ounce and one 12-ounce connected to the 4-pack. And I don't know what I was thinking, but as we've been in the coronavirus world that we have, we've done some variety packs and letting people pick out beers, and it seems to be fun. It gets a little confusing, and it gets tough to give everybody what they want, especially if we let people choose. But if we come up with something for a fun size, and it's everything that we pick and we put in there, it might be doable.
Ryan's cringing over there, thinking about what it's going to cost to package and assemble.
Yeah, I was saying 4 fermenters with fun size in them at once sounds expensive.
Yeah, and taking the space of something else that could go in there as well.
Right.
So Rose Layer seemed to be the place that you guys were going to do a lot of the sours. Is that still the case? Are you brewing it over there to do those too?
Yeah, so we're brewing there. We're filling our fooders from there. We've had to, you can only sell so much sour beer. So it's not necessarily something that we're just jumping on every week. We could if there was the demand for it, but right now the suburbs aren't as familiar with sour beer as inner city is. They're getting better at it, and I think having some place like us to do that is helping. But it's something that we're slowly introducing more and more of, for sure.
You like doing those? I mean, the margin of error in those is pretty slim. Do you like the challenge of those?
Yeah, it's fun because you can accurately predict what you're going to get, but still be completely surprised. So it's completely different than just brewing beer all the time.
My friends, the Michigan alums, the Farringtons, who are also, they found Paul's hat as well. That's awesome. You guys, so I thought I was crazy. Go ahead and ask your question. Hold on.
Yes.
There we go. Go ahead.
Oh, wait.
Question.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh.
about the thing.
You guys got a question?
So why the change in the name of the award-winning Light Reading to Light Thinking?
Well.
Paul?
Uh-oh.
Brian?
Uh-oh.
All right. So there's a Reading Brewing Company that didn't like us using that name that's putting it simply. So they don't even make the beer, but they own the brand, and they asked us to not use it. So we changed it.
So I thought I was crazy because I thought, it was coming in as Light Thinking. I was like,
How about the rest of that story?
Reading. Go ahead, Paul.
So can I sound a little? So light reading is actually light Reading. Reading is in Reading, Pennsylvania, and that is the same name that's on your Monopoly board for the Reading Railroad. It's a German name, and that brand went out of favor and went away. But there was a brewery out of New York, Ruckus Brewing, that has bought a lot more of a marketing, because they really don't brew, but they buy a lot of brands. And what they did was they bought that brand and are selling that back to folks who want to reuse the names. And we went with Light Reading, although our lawyer said, I was really going with Reading, and it's Reading. Well, it's spelled the same, so guess what? We had to either pay them for a royalty to use the name or change it to Light Thinking. And the best part about that was the folks out at the Brewers Association were kind enough to change to Light Thinking without having any trouble. And history will always show that we won with Light Thinking.
Yeah, when you get the cease and desist order from the largest attorney firm in Manhattan, you tend to just roll over and figure out a new name versus challenging them. So that wasn't going to be in our best interest to do. So it is ridiculous, but it is what it is. So.
Well, yeah, and that beer won gold at GABF this past fall, so that's awesome. And that was your second medal, right?
Yeah.
Gold, because Fruhoff also won, correct?
Correct.
Won a bronze. No, bronze.
Uh-oh.
Brewer won a bronze a couple years ago.
My
Won a
fault.
bronze.
Oh, sorry. It's still an awesome beer.
Yeah, let's go.
Where any collaboration? So Eric asked a question about a collaboration, like a sour collaboration with Penrose, because you guys are in the area. Have you guys thought about any collaborations, whether it's with a sour in that area or with any other breweries?
Yeah, I really like Tom at Penrose. We don't get to talk too often, but when we do, we definitely mention collabs. Maybe I'll bring it up with him again. But we do have a pretty cool collab coming up that'll be out in early and mid-June. It's going to be with Revolution, and we're going to make a Hopfenweiss with them with Sabro, Mosaic, and Citra. So if you've never had a Hopfenweiss, it's basically it's like a stronger version of a Hefeweizen, but it's more hoppy. So it's something that we both really thought fit both our brewery styles. We do a lot of wheat. They do a lot of kind of crazy hop stuff with their Hero series, and we kind of put it together and decided on making a Hopfenweiss. So it's going to be called Lederhosen Luau, and we're going to be pumping that out quite a bit in the next few weeks. So we're pretty excited. It's an honor to brew with Revolution, and we're pretty excited to have them come to Lamont to brew with us.
I was going to ask, where did you brew it? It was in Lamont?
So we're doing quite a bit of it. So they're going to come out for a day, but we're actually doing multiple batches. So they're not even going to be there for all of it.
There's the label. Paul's showing us the label. Nice. We had the Skeleton Key crew on recently. We were talking because they did the Nine-Tailed with the restaurant around the corner of the Foxtail. You guys really jumped in and helped them. How did that, for those that weren't on that one, Pollyanna actually canned that beer for them. How did that discussion come up?
Well, we were all kind of sitting around doing nothing for the first week or two in this quarantine, and we were just thinking, who else needs some help out there? And Skeleton Key's right down the street. So I reached out to those guys, and they had a beer that they were looking to can, and it's not our favorite thing to do to move our canning line, but we had some time and we did it. So it was it's one of those things that just made sense at that moment. Now we don't have time to do it now, but during that first couple weeks, it just made sense. So the only thing that was kind of tricky, which ended up not being tricky, was that we had to use our cans that say Pollyanna around the rim. And they didn't even hesitate. They just said, sure, doesn't matter. And we didn't hesitate using it or putting our cans with their beer in it either, because the beer was pretty awesome. So.
No, and that speaks volumes to the beer brewing community, especially in this area. And we've been kind of talking about this a little bit. So Paul, I mean, maybe this is a question for you. What's the biggest challenge you guys have had the past couple months? What's the biggest pivot you're trying to deal with as tap rooms are closed and draft is going away and all these things are happening?
The first thing is we want to keep people employed. I mean, that's number one. And how do we still make money? And then the long term is what do we look like when we come out the other side? And that's what we've been looking at. You know, the tap rooms and the way the business has gone has been very unique. We wanted to keep people busy, and we wanted to look at what our distributors had.
Wait for it.
Lag. Talks amongst yourselves. Wait for it. You guys are
our team and our partners, and it turned into a lot of discussion of what do we need to do and how quick can we do it. I mean, you know, being small is great because you can pivot quickly. I mean, Brian and the production team and Ed, I mean, it's incredible what everybody does on a daily basis to make the business move. We wanted to get together. I mean, one of those first questions was to Heartland, what do you have in the inventory? How are we going to move this? What do we need to do today, tomorrow, and next week? And then actually do those things and be able to, you know, right away everybody was frozen for those first couple of weeks. And then, you know, I hate to say it, but there's kind of a norm right now of what we need to do. And then when things move back to normal, that'll be kind of a challenge for us too, because we'll be moving in a different direction. So it's been unique. We want to keep, obviously we wanted to keep everybody employed, and we've done that. We did our due diligence, and Ryan, the best with our paperwork and getting PPP funding and getting that on the first round and being able to keep the business moving in the right direction and being able to pay our bills. Right now, we're in a fantastic position of, again, having paid off our bills, still making money. It's treading water to some extent, but knowing that, I think we see the end at the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what we're focused on, is getting to it and then getting things back to normal and getting those tap rooms back up to where they need to be. But, having great customers, as you know, it's fantastic in order to, to have those folks be able to come in and they support you no matter what. It's crazy. So it's been a crazy ride, but something that we've been pretty proud of.
Ryan is a guy that's doing a lot of the money, and I know you're studying the market too. What do you see on the other end of this, especially with the breweries in Chicago? And how are you guys positioned well right now?
Well, it's the Wild West. What you don't know is what it's going to look like in distro, wholesale, and draft business. I mean, it's just, there's no way to predict it. You know, we talked to Kirby. I know he was on a short time ago, and our other distributors almost daily, trying to pivot and figure out. I mean, the problem when this hit was it was like the great ramp up of the spring, right? You kind of tread water December, January, February as a brewery. And then late February, early March, you hit the go button. And we hit the go button and actually brought on another brewer at the end of February, Katrina, a great asset that we were able to get, former Goose brewer. Went into the downturn with 40 employees and just a shit ton of draft beer ready to go. And we've had to really pivot that. So we've been able to kind of adjust to that. It's challenging though, but we are proud to say that, we have not laid, we were fortunate to get first round of funding through the CARES Act, through the PPP. So that's going to help us through a portion of the summer. We actually brought on a part-time employee last week. So we have 41 employees now. So there's only about 20% of the breweries in the country that can say that they haven't cut back. I do see, we had Sean on, and I see Beck. Two of our employees are on right now, trying to keep this taproom business, folks busy. I think the tap room will continue to be strong. It'll be weird. We're really trying to pay a lot of attention what the tap rooms look like, right? So we've really converted the business from a wholesale business to a retail business. So focusing on what that looks like, what distancing and safety looks like in the tap rooms. We do have a lot of square footage, and every brewery has an outdoor patio. So we do have a lot of opportunity to spread people out. So we're kind of getting a feel for what that may look like one day, but I think distro is going to, wholesale keg and draft business is just going to be the big unknown for the better part of the year. But like Paul said, we're in a great position. I haven't lost a minute of sleep. We're opportunistic, frankly. I start looking around at opportunities in this time too. Not that that's going to mean anything, but I think we're prepared to come out pretty strong, frankly.
We've got Eric on here. Eric, I'm going to have you ask the question because that kind of plays into where we're going to be on the other end of this and what people are planning. So go ahead, Eric.
So I was wondering, well, first of all, I appreciate Oktoberfest. You guys always make it super family friendly, and as a family that goes, I enjoy that. So thank you. So that being said, are you guys looking at Oktoberfest this year, or do you think it's possibly not going to happen?
Still on the calendar. September 19th is the one fest right now. Roselle Beer Fest is off for the year. St. Charles, we had a little event we were doing there, potentially pushing that till late October. But right now October 19th is still penciled in. If it'll be hard to say what we do. I think we're just kind of in a waiting game. Clearly, that's our biggest event of the year. We draw 3,000 to 4,000 people. Everyone's going to be ready to have a beer or 2 or 6 by the time we're all through this. And we just don't know if we can pull it off, if it's proper to do it, and if we have the green light to go, obviously from the state. But we're optimists, so we'll say we hope it happens. But
optimist, no pun intended. All right, so I told you I try and keep you to an hour. So I'm going to ask, barring any other questions here. So Brian, what's the Henry beer? Do we know yet? We're talking family friendly. For those that don't know, last year we had a chocolate milk lager to celebrate the birth of Brian's first son, Henry. And now I know there's a big deal about trying to guess what the next beer would be, and then all this ridiculousness happened. What can you share?
So we actually let it lager for a couple weeks longer. So there's a hint. It's a lager. So it didn't hurt the beer at all. It helped it by letting it sit for a couple extra weeks. But we canned it today, so I'm going to make that debut early next week on social media. So you'll just have to stay tuned. But I just gave you a hint. So
for those who don't know, the guessing was about what Henry likes to eat, and you're good. Your plan is to do this every year, right?
Yeah, at least until he says, "Dad, stop."
Until he says SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, mac and cheese. That'll be a weird
That's
one.
what I said. I said, I'm not going to be looking forward to the hot dog and mac and cheese beer. That's going to come at about age 6.
I'm gonna be like, come on, little man, you want some Pop-Tarts or something? We could do that.
Fun size, more fun size. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
By the way, Brian is going to have his second.
Oh, really? Congratulations.
Thank you.
When?
October.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're going to have 2 beers now every year? We're going to have to keep it up.
See, that's where it gets tricky. I don't know.
So when I homebrew and I did a beer for our first, we were doing it every year. And my wife, when we had our second, said, now you have to do it every year for both of them. And yeah, so I'm going to tell you, you may want to reconsider that. It's a hassle. At least you're commercial.
Wow.
I got to text your mother, Brian.
Yeah.
She knows.
That's awesome. Anything we missed, guys? Anything you want to add before we let y'all go?
Well, I think it's worth mentioning now that I think we officially placed a PO. So we're going to open a distillery in St. Charles. So we're going to get into spirits. So that's exciting.
Who's going to be doing that? Do you have somebody to come in and do that?
It'll be mostly Ed and myself.
Awesome.
So
have you cloned yourself, Brian?
Pretty much.
Yeah, figured. That's awesome. Paul, anything we missed?
Bob, that's a hell of a hat. we greatly appreciate the partnership we have with you guys. With Orange and Brew is fantastic, and we certainly always want to do everything we can to support you. So that's always just a matter of us letting us know. I mean, whether this be we're in quarantine and this is the way we have to communicate, or whether it be something in person where we come out and do a tap takeover or keep the pine, or it's just a matter of meet your customers. I think, you could always look to Pollyanna to do that. And you could always look to have the support of any of the 5 of the partners.
Well, we appreciate that. You guys you're very popular for people in Downers Grove. We move, comparatively speaking, to the other stuff. I know we're not Binny's, we're not a huge account, but comparatively speaking, we move a lot of your beer, and people love it. It's great. I mean, the price point's great, the quality is amazing, and the variety is awesome. So I can always have different things on the shelves from you guys, in addition to the flagships of Pollyanna Pills and Lamonti and now Summerly. I mean, it's great. Ryan, anything we missed with you?
I don't think so. Just again, thanks, Eric, for the support. Thanks all for the Dawgma support. My little pet project. It's great to see it have some legs, and appreciate what Orange and Blue Brew have done.
What are you?
So stay tuned, and thanks for all the support.
You guys realize how hard it was for an Alumni bar to agree to do one of these podcasts. So.
Okay.
ILL.
Okay, Michigan?
ILL.
I gotta mute these people. God bless.
Hey, come on.
Hey,
Eric,
everybody, give Matt Duza a wave. By the way, Matt Duza's on right now. We haven't seen him in the bar in a while. Our usual, he's here more than I am half the time. So, hey, everybody, thank you again. These have been a lot of fun. It's really cool. We miss seeing everybody's faces in here. We miss being able to cheers you and to clink glasses when you guys come in the door here. We miss Matt. We miss Mitch. We miss Pete. Tony still comes in on Saturdays. Again, we miss you guys. So thank you. Thanks to Pollyanna for all you guys do. Thanks for taking some time today. And keep drinking all of their stuff. Cheers, guys. Have a great weekend.
Cheers. Have a great
Cheers.
weekend. Thank you.